Welcome to the WBBL Cup Final 2021 preview. Now joined by head coach of the Leicester Riders, Jesper Sundberg. Jesper, obviously you've had a strong start to season, and you finished last year with a final. Now you're back in one. So, what experience can you take away from the Durham game last year, and looking forward into the final tomorrow against Sevenoaks?
I think the big learning point for us last year with the Durham game was more to be able to prepare and work through the circumstances that were going. Like, things weren't perfect and they weren't going to be perfect in the way that we want to prepare. So I think we learned a lot from that. Obviously, this year we have a lot of new guards. The big rotation is still the same, so we have still that continuity. But on the court, just being calm in stress situations, because obviously we, in that game, built the lead a couple times and they got back every single time, and then still being calm to kind of stretch it out and be the ones controlling the game still, though Durham had the runs at times.
Yeah, and obviously you've talked about the final last year was a bit of a unique challenge. This perhaps maybe the most unique one. You're playing a team that hasn't played in 2 months in Sevenoaks. So just talk about from your point of view and obviously preparing the team, how much of a challenge it is to prepare for a team that haven't played in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's always different, like we said, in terms of preparing and things we normally do. But if there's any team that you probably can prepare for without playing, it's Sevenoaks, because we know what they're really good at and we know what they're trying to do. And it's not going to be so much about the actual set plays, because they're better in the broken play scenarios. So it's going to be, okay, can we defend I was going to say Cat and a couple of pick and rolls, but that's not going to happen. But Cat getting to the high post up to the corners and finding the cutters like Garrido and Janice cutting on the baseline, like those are the situations that we need to control. And I don't think that's going to change for them in terms of them playing or been out for 2 months. So if there's any team, then probably Sevenoaks is the team that has their tendencies and are really good at what they do and will continue doing that, whether they've been practicing or not.
Obviously, looking a little bit closer at your team, defensively this year you've been exceptional, and you mentioned that the front court's been identical. So how much has keeping that group of 4 together really helped move from last season to starting the season strong this year?
Obviously, given us a huge head start, because it's a lot about the positioning, obviously, and with them 4 knowing the positioning and how I want it to be set up, the more pressure the guard can put on the ball, because they trust that they have the people behind them. So the fact that we only have to teach half of the group, let's put it that way, made things way easier. And obviously we've had a record-long preseason as well to nudge those things. So, but yeah, we're happy with how we're playing defensively for sure.
Yeah, and obviously you've got all the new additions in the backcourt, and it seems like this year you've been able to get a lot of deflections and get your hands on the ball a lot more. And just talk about how that's helped spark your offense, which at times has struggled.
Has it? Yeah, so basically, yeah, obviously we want to be on ball pressure and keeping the help side behind it. And players like Hannah Robb and Anna Leppencooper is really starting by putting pressure on the ball, and then it makes life easier on everyone else behind it, basically. And we've been doing a really good job of, like you said, deflecting and actually trying to keep our arms and bodies in the passing lanes, and by that really making it difficult to find passes and for us to know what's going to be the next step for the offense, basically.
And also talking about that, Hannah Robb's been one of your new additions, obviously WBBL veteran in 4 or 5 years up in Caledonia. I'm just going to pull some clips in here, but just talk about some of her impact she's had on the ball. Here she's guarding Shumpert, and she's done a great job to me of fighting over screens and really keeping that ball pressure consistent for you.
Yeah, no, she's done a phenomenal job of just, working hard, trying to find the angles and like you said, work over screens, and then but also what happens after she's over the screen. Like it's not always that we're in between, but she's doing a great job with angles. You can see there, for example. But in general, it's just her and everyone else deciding to really work hard, because that's not really a fun thing to do for 40 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And just as these clips, it's just so the viewers can get an idea of what doing. Obviously, Hannah obviously come back from GB. How's she feeling? Obviously, having that experience, and how's that helped her kind of grow, being around the senior national team setup now?
Yeah, obviously it's quite short time since she got back, but in terms of the last time, I think she got excited and just getting a view of what it's like to play against the next level of competition and the level that she wants to be on and tries to be getting to. So I think it's been great, and just motivational wise, like coming to work every single day and playing defense like this and the clips we see now, it's getting easier knowing that there is a next step for those things.
And sort of flipping onto the other side of the ball, offensively, how do you feel like the group's progressing? Do you feel like you're getting the shots you want, or are there things you feel like you're still developing on that end of the floor? Because from certainly look at some of the numbers, obviously the scoring's not massively high, but you're struggling on uncontested catch and shoot opportunities of all things. I think you're down at 26%. So do you feel like that's just a matter of time of you'll start making shots, or are there better looks that you want to continue to create on that end of the floor?
I'm not necessarily not happy with the looks that we get, and I can honestly say that the percentage will go down. If you look at those clips again and see Hannah playing defense, like she's going to be a lot more tired playing offense than if we would have played 2-3 zone for the whole game. So the fact that we might shoot a little lower percentage, that might happen. But in terms of the shots we're getting and the reads we're making as a team, I think we're doing a good job. But with that being said, we obviously have a lot to work on and improve.
And then also the one thing that has perhaps been a little bit higher, I think, for you this year is the turnovers. Obviously came down at the weekend against Caledonia, but there's games you've kind of been up in the high to mid 20s of turnovers. So just talk about how important it is to try and reduce them, especially against a team like Sevenoaks who can get out and run and score in transition quite effectively.
Yeah, no, obviously, again, it comes down to us learning and getting a habit of playing games, which is not happening too often now, and learning to play up and down where we can have that half-court pressure and defensively and have fresh heads playing offense afterwards, which, again, is not an easy thing, but the more games we get to play, the more we will learn from it and the better game conditioning we will have and make easier decisions.
So just talk a little bit about the offensive development. Obviously, we're here going to talk about just some of the flare screens and creating space. But obviously, you've got some depth of, you've got a real depth of scoring on the team this year, and you've really got those multiple options on the offensive end you can go to. So just talk about sort of the spacing has developed and creating good looks and allowing everyone to sort of sustain that role with drives or catch and shoot.
Yeah, so like you said, we obviously have different types of weapons, but our biggest upside from other teams, I would say, is that we can flip the position completely, where we have our bigs playing on the outside and our guards playing on the inside. I think that's the biggest difference for other teams when they play against us. Like we see on the clips here, we had Ella shooting a 3, and then we can have Sarah and Holly in the post-ups, and just that spacing makes things so much easier, because right now we see our point guard is the only one inside of the three-point line right now, and that kind of does get the spacing and that we need and makes hopefully life harder for defense.
Just take that out quickly. And obviously just looking ahead, where do you feel like the keys are to tomorrow's final against Sevenoaks, who I imagine going in, it's probably going to be a close game that comes down to the stretch?
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, like them converting on turnovers. So basically, just to put it easy, and it's going to sound stupid, but just being able to defend all their points. So, for example, are we going to be able to defend a 1-0 Janice layup after a turnover? No. But if we can make them play half-court defense and we can control the back doors, then at least we will contest their options. So basically, what we've struggled with in the past, again, we're saying the past because it's not this season, but is when they get second chance points and transition points. That's what's been the real killer. So in order to stop that, obviously we need to contest and be in position defensively to get the rebounds. And then offensively, we need to be locked in and trying to actually take advantage of our situations that we do have, and also be a little more accurate in our passing. Was example, like if we get a switch with our post against Tiani, for example, she's doing a very good job of still holding that position and making that pass tough. So those are the situations where we need to have patience and trying to find a better situation to get that ball inside, or trying to find something else where we still have the advantage, rather than go with something that might lead to a turnover where it's baskets that we can't defend.
And just talk about for Sevenoaks specifically, the challenge Rene Bush gives your defense. You've won both games against Nottingham this year, but in a kind of way, you've gone 1-1 against Chelsea Schumpert. The first game she was very quiet. The second game, obviously she had the 8 threes, and I know you haven't seen Sevenoaks in a year. But Rene had, I think, 21 the last time you played each other back in February last year. So just talk about the challenge she can put on your defense.
Yeah, no, she's playing really well, and it's good to see her in the national team as well. We know that she's a really good shooter. I think she's doing a better job of shooting different shots this year in the first 4 games we've seen. She's not just spacing and shooting that catch and shoot. She actually comes off screens and then takes one dribble and then shoots it, and actually scoring multiple ways. So for us, again, it's just trying to keep our off-ball angles with her and really run her off the 3-point line, to be honest.
Well, best of luck tomorrow in the final, and hopefully we'll catch up with you later on the season as it progresses.
Thank you. All right.